Welcome to EDUC 506, New Media Literacies in High Needs Schools. My name is Elizabeth Wellman. I am the instructor for the Wednesday afternoon between 4 and 6 Pacific Time and the Friday afternoon between 3 and 4:50 Pacific Time sections of this class. The Wednesday class is an online class. The Friday class is an on-site class. My office hours are 30 minutes before class, 30 minutes after class, and by appointment. This new media literacy course has been developed to foster learning in our graduate students in a couple of different ways. First of all, we're interested in exploring the literature on new media literacies. We're also interested in examining, reflecting on, and creating curricular materials which reflect the development of new media literacies in our students. We're interested in how people make meaning with new media, and how that reflects on the concept of literacy. We're also interested in developing your expertise in creating student-centered learning environments, which will help your students think critically, communicate, and engage in active and authentic learning. So that's where we're going with this class. You can read through this first part. We also address the problems of practice here and the questions of participation. If you have any questions about this introductory part of the class, please email me or bring it up in class and we can talk about it. Also on the syllabus are the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing program standards. They are broken down and how they are reflected in this course. Again, if you have any questions on these standards, and you can bring it up in class or you can email me, either one. The special ed standards are also here. We will be talking about applications of new media literacies with special ed students. These couple of sets of standards I find particularly important. The National Association for Media Literacy Education has core principles of media literacy education, and this course should reflect these following principles that are listed here. Again, we're interested in active learning, active inquiry, and critical thinking, particularly around the messages that we are negotiating from different media. This course expands the idea of literacy past reading, writing, speaking, and listening, and we're looking at many other forms of literacy, many of which are associated with the new media literacies. We're looking to see how this can apply to learners of all ages. And again, as I reflected earlier, it's important for you folks to inquire, to be informed, to think critically, to be reflective, and to be engaged, actively engaged in this course. The other set of principles that are important here are the ISTE standards. ISTE is the International Society for Technology and Education. If you aren't familiar with them, I would urge you to look up their website. They have a very large amount of resources for teachers. And the ISTE standards go in a slightly different direction than the media standards in that they're very much more focused on how to apply the media to a particular subject matter. So if you're doing a single subject credential, the ISTE standards are helping you think about how you can incorporate into the content learning for your course student learning, student-centered learning, student creativity and innovation, and also the idea of both a local and a global citizen. Students should be aware of local issues and how those are reflected in the course, and global issues and how the local and global issues relate to one another. So those are the two other sets of standards. The course requirements are fairly straightforward. I expect you to participate in the seminar. If you cannot make a seminar, please, you need to email me. If you're in the online course, you can view the recording. That does not earn you points for seminar participation, but it does keep you up to date with the class. Assignment number 2 is the weekly convergence forum. Because we're having an interruption in service with the LMS in the middle of the course this summer, I've arranged the convergence forum slightly differently. For week 1, as most of you have done, I ask you to respond to the forum in the way that it's outlined here in the syllabus, and that's your week 1 forum posting. Your week 2 forum posting will be on a blog that I have set up. The URL for the blog is on the wall. You can connect to it there. I have posted a question directly related to the readings that I would like you to respond to on the blog. That's this week's Convergence Forum. Starting next week, in week 3, I will be asking 2 members of the class every week to prepare a question regarding one of the readings for the rest of the class to respond to, just as the class responded to my readings this week. So in week 3 through week 10, each of you will have, there will be 2 postings to the blog to respond to. And that will be your Convergence Forum postings for weeks 3 through 10. What that takes away from slightly in terms of this original assignment is the availability of and the opportunity to share resources. For us to share resources, therefore, I am going to be asking again 2 people every week to prepare a resource, 1 or 2 resources to present to the class that week. You should take about 5 to 7 minutes to present your resource. We'll spend the first 10 to 15 minutes of class every day viewing these resources. It's the first thing we will do. I will turn the host privileges over to you so you can share your desktop while you share those resources, and just briefly discuss them and why you think they are important. In week 2, we will discuss what we consider to be an exemplary resource, and we will apply that definition to our presentation of the resources during the rest of the quarter. So again, every quarter, each one of you will be asked to do 2 things. 1 is to write a question for other students to respond to about one of the readings, and 2, present 5 to 7 minutes at the beginning of one class 1 or 2 exemplary resources that you have found. And then those resources will also be reflected in a Digo file that I am keeping for the class, which it will also contain any resources any of you post to the wall. I encourage you to post more resources to the wall other than just the 1 or 2 that you present to the class. Assignment 3 is an analysis paper, where this is a looking at the literature, the Jenkins article, which is due the first week, and comparing, discussing it in relationship to one of the other articles that we're reading in the first 4 weeks. The analysis paper is 5 to 7 pages, and it's due on the 5th week of class. The other large assignment, the analysis paper is 25% of the class. The other large assignment is 50% of the class, and that's the NML Convergence Learning Plan. And that assignment we will be doing over a 4-week period. So there will be aspects of it due in the 6th week, the 7th week, the 8th week, and then the final is due in the 9th week. After you've handed in the final in the 9th week, then you will be preparing a Pechakucha to present in the 10th week, and you will present that to the rest of the class. So we're going to have, so something is due every week beyond the convergence, beyond the forums, in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th weeks. That's an outline of the learning plan. Your required readings include the Jenkins article, which is how I will refer to it during class, and that outlines 11 new media literacy skills, which we want to focus on. And then we have the other readings are listed here in the syllabus. If you can't access them, please email me and I will send you an attachment with them. The book that you are required to have is by Robert Malloy, and it's called Transforming Learning with New Technologies. Most of the students in previous classes have liked this book and thought it was very useful. I think you'll find it useful also. And we will be following along with it week to week, and we will also be discussing it in the Convergence Forum. This class meets once a week for 2 hours each week. The Friday class gets out at 4:50. Here on the syllabus you can see how the grade is going to be distributed and what the final course grades, how many points you have to earn to get your final course grades. We've discussed that we're doing this both distance and on site. If you have technical trouble, and I've already had a few people email me about this, the most important thing is to keep in contact with me. Email is the best way to keep in contact with me. If you have a complete breakdown before class and you can't attend class, then what we need to do is discuss how to make sure that you have received the experience that we wanted you to have during the class. There are standards of appropriate online behavior. You can review those in the USC Student Conduct Code. If you have need of academic accommodations, please don't hesitate to ask me and I will acquire those. Academic integrity is assumed. If you have any question at all about what academic integrity involves, please read this section and again access the USC Student Conduct Code book. Incompletes, I provide incompletes when there is a last minute emergency, and I ask you to again stay in contact with me. I understand that many things can happen at the last minute which could prevent you from finishing the course. We like to limit the incompletes. And we have a little bit of wiggle room in terms of time, but again, if you believe you're going to need an incomplete, please ask me during the 10th week of the class, and please get in touch with me as soon as you know you're going to need it. And I believe that is the majority of the syllabus. Here is where the course assignments are due. Please turn in your forum postings the night before the class. That allows me to have a chance to review the forum postings and incorporate them into the class. Each week we have an outline on the syllabus of how the week should go, and we have an introduction, the goals and objectives for that week, the key questions, the activities, and the required readings. The goals and objectives and the key questions are frequently much broader than just for 1 week. So it's unlikely that the only time we're going to talk about participatory culture and illustrate its applications is in the first week. That is an ongoing theme throughout the entire course. So when I look at the goals and objectives and when I look at the key questions, what we're trying to do there is to discuss these issues perhaps more in this week than in other weeks, but certainly these issues are to be discussed on an ongoing basis. If at any time you have questions about the key questions, you have questions about the goals and objectives, please feel free to either email me or bring the question up in class, and we can talk about the key questions and the goals and objectives at that point in time. Again, these are things that I incorporate throughout the whole 10 weeks, so that if we have touched on it 1 week, odds are excellent that we're going to be coming back to it over and over again. And we have these outlines for every week. If you have any questions regarding the syllabus, again, please email me or ask me during class. If you have any questions at all about your participation in the class, or about anything that I am doing in the class, again, please don't hesitate to ask questions. Again, my name is Elizabeth Wellman. I am the instructor for this class. This is EDUC 506, and I'm really looking forward to this quarter. Take care.